Comfort doesn't feel like failure. That's the trap. Nobody wakes up one day, decides to waste their life. It happens slowly, one comfortable decision at a time. You skip the gym because you're tired. You don't send the cold email because it's not the right time. You stay in the job that bores you because it's stable. None of these feel like failure in the moment. They feel like relief. That's exactly why comfort is more dangerous than fear. Fear announces itself. Comfort whispers. It tells you that resting today is fine, that starting tomorrow is fine, that eventually is a real plan. But eventually never arrives for people who keep choosing comfort over action. Here's the brutal math. Every time you pick the easy option, you're not just missing one opportunity, you're training your brain to expect the easy option next time too. You're building a habit of retreat, and habits compound just like money does, except this one compounds against you. The people who look like overnight successes spent years being uncomfortable on purpose, uncomfortable schedules, uncomfortable conversations, uncomfortable financial risk, while everyone else was optimizing for a good night's sleep. Comfort isn't the reward for hard work. Comfort is the disguise hard work wears right before it disappears completely. If your life feels peaceful and your goals still feel far away, that's not balance. That's decay wearing a calm face. The comfort zone doesn't stay the same size, it shrinks. Most people think their comfort zone is a fixed circle they can step out of whenever they decide to. Wrong. A comfort zone left unchallenged doesn't stay still, it contracts. Skip one hard workout and the next one feels harder. Avoid one difficult conversation and the next one feels scarier. Say no to one opportunity out of fear, and your appetite for risk shrinks a little more permanently. This is why people who are bold at 22 are terrified of change at 32. Not because life got harder, but because their tolerance for discomfort got smaller every single time they chose the easy path. It's a slow motion cage, and the walls move in without you noticing, because each retreat feels justified in the moment. I'm just tired today. I'll push myself next week. But next week, the zone is smaller, and pushing yourself feels even less possible than it did today. This is the cruelest part. The longer you stay comfortable, the more courage it will cost you to ever leave. Which means waiting doesn't make the leap easier. Waiting makes the leap require more strength than you'll have left. The exit door doesn't stay open forever. It closes a little more every day you don't walk through it. Unused potential doesn't wait for you. It atrophies. Muscles that aren't used weaken. Skills that aren't practiced disappear. Ambition works exactly the same way. Nobody tells you this, but the version of you that could have built something great has a shelf life. Every day you don't use your discipline gets weaker. Every day you don't take a risk, your risk tolerance shrinks. Potential is not a bank account that sits safely waiting to be withdrawn whenever you're ready. It's a living thing, and living things die without use. This is why the "I'll do it when I'm ready" mindset is a trap disguised as wisdom. Readiness isn't something that arrives, it's something you build by acting before you feel ready. The people getting results right now aren't more talented than you. They simply didn't let their potential sit in storage rotting while they waited for permission or perfect conditions. Comfort convinces you that your potential is patient. It isn't. It's perishable. The dream you keep postponing isn't paused, it's dying quietly in the background while you tell yourself you'll get to it eventually. The longer you wait to use your ability, the less of it there is to use. That's not motivation talk. That's biology, psychology, and every washed-up used-to-be you've ever met, all proving the same brutal point. Comfort recruits your circle to keep you small. Here's something nobody wants to admit. Comfort isn't just personal. It's social. The people around you have gotten comfortable with the current version of you, and change threatens that comfort too. So when you try to grow, the people closest to you will often, without even meaning to, pull you back toward familiar. They'll say, "Just relax. You're already doing fine. Why change what isn't broken?" It sounds like love. Often it is love. But it's love mixed with fear of losing the version of you they know how to deal with. This is why so many people who want more in life feel guilty for wanting it, because wanting more feels like rejecting the people who accepted them at less. Growth will always disturb the comfort of the room you're standing in. The question is whether you let that disturbance stop you, or whether you understand it as proof you're finally moving. The most successful people you'll ever study didn't have circles that cheered every move. They had circles that got uncomfortable, and they grew anyway. If everyone around you is completely comfortable with your goals are too small. Real ambition should make a few people around you a little uneasy. That discomfort in the room isn't a warning sign, it's a sign you're finally headed somewhere. Comfort wears the mask of self-care and balance. This is the most dangerous version of comfort because it sounds healthy. I deserve a break. I'm just protecting my peace. I'm focusing on balance. Sometimes that's true. Often, it's comfort wearing a costume so convincing you don't even question it. There's a difference between rest that recharges you for the next push and rest that replaces the push entirely. One is strategic, the other is surrender with better branding. The trap is that both feel identical in the moment, calm, justified, deserved. The only way to tell them apart is to ask an uncomfortable question. Am I resting because I've been relentless, or am I resting because relentless scares me? Most people never ask that question, because the answer often stings. They'd rather call it balance than admit its avoidance. Comfort has gotten smarter over the years. It doesn't show up looking lazy anymore. It shows up looking wise, healthy, even spiritual. And that's exactly why it's more dangerous now than ever. The people who actually win in life still rest, but they rest on purpose, on a schedule, after output, not as a permanent lifestyle dressed up in wellness language. If your self-care has quietly become your only care, it's not self-care anymore. It's the death of your ambition, and it's charging you a premium for the funeral. Discomfort isn't the obstacle to success, it's the mechanism. The final truth is the one people resist the most. Discomfort isn't something to survive on the way to success. It is the success mechanism itself. Every gain in strength, business, skill, or character comes from voluntarily doing something your body or mind doesn't want to do. This is not a metaphor, it's physiology and psychology working the exact same way. Muscles grow because you tear them under load. Confidence grows because you survive situations that scared you. Skill grows because you fail publicly and adjust. There is no version of growth that skips discomfort. None. So when people say they want the result without the uncomfortable process, they're asking for something that has never once existed for anyone in history. The people who built extraordinary lives didn't find a shortcut around discomfort. They built a relationship with it. They stopped asking, how do I avoid this feeling? And started asking, how much discomfort can I handle today that I couldn't handle yesterday? That single shift in questioning is the actual difference between people who stay the same for 10 years and people who transform in one. Discomfort isn't the price of the life you want. Discomfort done consistently and on purpose is the actual currency that buys it. What if the very chair you're sitting in right now, soft, familiar, safe, is quietly costing you everything you say you want? Nobody's life falls apart in one dramatic moment. It falls apart slowly, one comfortable decision at a time. You didn't fail today. You just picked easy again. And you'll probably pick it again tomorrow. That's not relaxation, that's erosion. And erosion doesn't announce itself, it just takes a little more of you every single day, until one morning you wake up and wonder where the last 10 years went. Here's what nobody tells you. Your comfort zone isn't a fixed circle waiting patiently for you to step outside of it whenever you feel ready. It shrinks. Every time you avoid the hard conversation, skip the hard workout, say no to the risk, the walls move in a little. And the cruelest part is this. Waiting doesn't make the leap easier. Waiting makes the leap require more courage than you'll have left by the time you finally try. Your potential isn't sitting safely in a vault waiting for you to cash it in on your schedule. It's alive. And like anything alive, it needs to be used or it dies. The discipline you're not using is getting weaker right now. The confidence you're not building is shrinking right now. You are not the same person you were a year ago who could have started this. That version of you is already gone. Replaced by someone who's gotten a little too good at explaining why later makes more sense than now. And it's not just you fighting this alone. The people around you have gotten comfortable with the current version of you. So when you try to grow, don't be shocked when the room gets uncomfortable. That discomfort isn't rejection. It's proof you're finally moving. If everyone around you claps for every decision you make, your decisions were never big enough to matter. The most dangerous part is that comfort doesn't even look like comfort anymore. It looks like self-care. It looks like balance. It looks wise. But ask yourself the one question comfort never wants you to ask. Am I resting because I've earned it, or resting because I'm scared of what happens if I don't stop? One is strategy. The other is surrender wearing a nicer outfit. Here's the part that changes everything once you actually understand it. Discomfort was never the obstacle standing between you and the life you want. Discomfort is the mechanism. Every ounce of strength, every skill, every version of you that you're proud of came from doing something you didn't want to do at a moment you didn't want to do it. There has never been a shortcut. Not for anyone. Not ever. The people you admire didn't escape discomfort. They built a relationship with it and then asked for more of it on purpose every single day. So the real question was never, how do I get comfortable? The real question is, how much discomfort are you willing to choose today that you weren't willing to choose yesterday? Because that answer, not your talent, not your luck, not your circumstances, that answer is the entire difference between the life you're settling for and the one you are actually capable of building. Comfort will never send you a warning before it takes your future. It will simply keep offering you an easier option day after day until the gap between who you are and who you could have been becomes too wide to close. But that gap isn't closed yet. Every single day you're still breathing is another day you get to choose differently. The discomfort you've been avoiding isn't your enemy, it's the exact ingredient your future has been waiting for. Choose it on purpose, starting now, and watch how fast everything you thought was impossible starts becoming inevitable. What if I told you that the comfortable life you're living right now is the exact reason your dream life hasn't shown up yet? Think about it. Every time you chose the easy option, the extra hour of sleep, the all-start Monday, the safe job you outgrew years ago, you weren't relaxing. You are quietly trading your future for a few minutes of peace today. And here's the part that should scare you. Comfort doesn't stay the same size. It shrinks you. The longer you sit still, the smaller your tolerance for risk gets, until one day the leap you could have made easily now